I have a statement that the First Nations Women's Alliance put out as a group for people that I'd like to read. Many emotions are tearing at us as we grieve the death of our sister, Savanna LaFontaine Greywind. We are consumed by anger, defiance, confusion, sadness, horror, and fear. We can't find the words for our prayers in the midst of this unspeakable tragedy. However, our determination to work for the end of all violence against women is fortified.
The tragic story of a North Dakota Native American woman murdered sparked a national conversation.
Savanna Greywind, who disappeared while 8 months pregnant, was found dead, wrapped in plastic in the Red River, days after her newborn infant was found alive.
Today is the first day I learned of how my daughter was murdered and how my granddaughter was taken from her.
Our 7-year anniversary is coming up on March 20th. And every day I'm reminded of her more and more, because every day she grows, she starting to look more like her mother.
Not only did Savanna's murder affect the family, it affected the community as well.
The Urban Indian Health Institute is calling cases like Savanna's a nationwide data crisis. A recent study shows that in 2016, over 5,700 missing and murdered Indigenous women were reported. But only 116 of the cases were actually recorded.
Congress is focusing, finally, on a shocking statistic. Native American women in the United States are 10 times more likely to be murdered than the rest of the population.
Even though these alarming rates persist, there are no reliable systems available to track this data or know exactly how many Native American women and girls go missing each year.
The facts of the matter are, we don't even know the full extent of the crisis.
Native women are more likely to be murdered than any other population in the United States. Native women face the highest rates of homicide, and that is a crisis that is created by American culture, as well as our legal frameworks created by Congress and the Supreme Court. The Department of Justice has stated that the majority of violent crimes committed against Native people are committed by non-Natives. But in 1978, the Supreme Court eliminated tribal criminal jurisdiction over non-Indians. The law has been structured in a way to tie the hands of tribal governments who simply want to put bad guys behind bars when they come onto tribal lands and murder, rape, and kill Native women.
A bill that should soon become law is heading to President Trump's desk. It is a bill that commands attention to stopping the violence facing Native women in this country.
The bill is named, as you've heard the story, in honor of Savanna LaFontaine Greywind. This legislation aims to provide a sense of hope to the loved ones of these women by developing guidelines and best practices for tribes and law enforcement agencies across the country, by enhancing reporting and record keeping of crimes against Indigenous women, and by improving communication between law enforcement and the families of these victims.
Savanna's Act will require all U.S. attorneys to create guidelines and protocols dealing with how their office will respond to a case within their jurisdiction of a Native woman who is missing or is murdered. Right now, many U.S. attorneys' offices don't have guidelines or protocols, and I think that contributes to their refusal to prosecute these cases. One other thing that Savanna's Act does that is very helpful is it gives tribes better access to national criminal databases, and that has been another contributing factor to the high levels of violence.
This crisis has been going on for decades. Politicians on both sides of the aisle have promised action and failed to deliver. I've been asked, what's different now? Why do you think progress can be made? And I can honestly tell you, the main difference I've seen is that our Native communities are leading the charge. They've had enough, and they no longer will suffer in silence.
To the former partner of Savanna, Ashton Matheny, and her daughter, Hazley Jo, who turned 3 1 month ago today, I would like to send my sincerest condolences to your family. While the passage of this bill will never make up for your devastating loss, I hope that it brings honor to your mother and know that it will impact generations to come.